Hi, I'm Marcellas Reynolds, the author of Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion, and you are listening to me on So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool. It's Jewel B. Love and light to all of you out there. This is part 3 of my conversation with Marcellas Reynolds, the author of Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion. So it was great conversing with Marcellas, and in this part, it's no different. He discusses whether he has considered writing a novel, and he also talks about future plans to expand Supreme Models. That's right, it's not the end. There's a lot more that we also tap into in this final part. You definitely don't want to miss it. So without further ado, here's part 3 of my conversation with Marcellas Reynolds right here only on So Booking Cool.
Yes, and you did mention that you did read as a childhood, so I have a two-part question. What kind of books did you like reading as a child, and would you consider writing a novel?
I read, my grandmother, I don't know why she had this stuff, but my grandmother had a full-on set of encyclopedias, and she had the classics. So she had things like Moby Dick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my mother read romance novels. So if I wasn't reading like a classic, something by Hemingway that my grandmother had, who's my favorite writer, so I was reading The Sun Also Rises. I was reading some trashy romance novel because that's how my mother found my name. He was the romantic hero in a romance novel. So I was reading either romance novels on my mother's part, or I was reading Hemingway from my grandmother, and then I was reading Essex, and I was reading Jet and Ebony. So that's the melange of who I became. So
yes,
there it is. And I have 2 more ideas for 2 more art books that I want to get out of the way.
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of interest in flipping Supreme into a TV series.
Oh my goodness.
Into a documentary series.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 3 production companies already lined up that want to make it into a documentary series. Of
course.
I actually want to make it into a documentary movie, like Unzipped or Dior and I, or the September issue, those wonderful fashion movies that maybe nobody sees. But I think that there's space for it to be done both ways. I think that somebody can do it as a documentary, a 6-part Netflix series, and I think that somebody could do a 2.5-hour documentary that we take around to all the festivals. They're not mutually exclusive, so that's what I would like to see happen with Supreme. I would like it if Supreme got a volume 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I got more pages, and I could maybe include more interviews, and I could talk to, because now all the models who told me no with the interviews are now all like, God, I wish I'd done the interview. I wish somebody had told me you were interviewing people. So now everybody wants an interview. So maybe now I can get Naomi and Tyra. And so I want a volume 2 of Supreme Models. And that's separate from the other 2 or 3 book ideas I have that are very specific that I'm not going to say out loud until they sell.
Yes.
And then maybe I think I have a novel, a work of fiction that's like loosely based on my life. I want to examine this space of the challenges and the trials that little gay kids of color have to go through to survive.
Yes.
And so I think that there's a novel there. I just think that maybe I'm scared to tell it because it may hit too close to home. You get into that semi-autobiographical neighborhood and you start telling, your stories and trying to mask it as this fictional character story. It can be, that's painful territory if you're not ready. God damn, I'm 50 years old. I better be ready. Like, when are you going to be ready if you're not ready now?
Well, I wonder like how you would feel about it a year later or even a month later. You know what I mean? In terms of the readiness of telling that story that about things that you went through that you might not be ready to reveal just yet. Like, do you see it changing like later, or and then are you also thinking about how this can resonate with other young LGBTQ youth of color, especially, and
Right.
who are going through that?
Well, I wonder if there had been a book mixed in with those Hemingway novels and with Moby Dick, or there had been articles in magazines back then that talked about, homosexuality and gay kids and that, or even if they did, they were positive. Because back then, when you saw a gay character on television or in movies, that character was either tragic or sad or in peril, or they were evil. They always made the gay guy the villain. If you think about like even the women of Brewster Place, and you think about the two gay characters and that how that played out. So I wish maybe back then there had been something that was like positive that shined a light on that. But children of abuse are the gatekeepers to the secret. And so you spend a lot of time living in the shame of what happened to you and the guilt of what happened to you. But you also spend a lot of time protecting other people because you don't want them to be in pain because of what was done to you. I'm now just getting to the place in my life where I have to let that go and stop protecting other people that maybe didn't protect me when they should have. So I'll just leave that there and, continue to grow and flourish and figure it out.
I'm gonna ask one more question because I know I can't keep you too long, even though like I honestly could talk to you for hours, Marcellas. Well, two more. Okay, if you could plan a dinner with the group of your biggest inspirations, and it can be in fashion or it doesn't have to necessarily be, just biggest inspirations in general, who would be there at this dinner?
Oh my God, I love that question. I've seen that question. I've never been asked it before. This is amazing. Okay. I would pick Naomi Campbell because I absolutely love her, and for some reason I have yet to meet her. And I'm obsessed with her.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick Audrey Hepburn because she got me through my Breakfast at Tiffany's, got me through so much. So I've watched that movie 100 times, and there's something about that character that resonated with me. I would pick Hemingway because he's an amazing writer, and he was such a character in real life from what you read about him. I would pick my father, who I never met, because I would love to just be able to have a conversation with him, and I would love for him to know how it turned out. And damn it, I would pick Michelle and Barack. I'm like obsessed with them and what they represent for Black people. That would be my fantasy dinner party right there.
Right.
Naomi Campbell, Ernest Hemingway, Audrey Hepburn, my dad, and the Obamas.
That's it. Wow, what a table. What a table. Like, oh, I love that's wonderful.
That's my fantasy dinner.
And what advice do you have, Marcellas, for somebody who would love to follow in your footsteps and have a career in fashion? What's your advice for getting started? And what are some of the various opportunities that are available to people who are into fashion?
This is the thing that I have spoken about so often. I just did an interview. I think it went in the Sun-Times, the Chicago Tribune, somewhere. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so I talk about I'm talking about integration.
Right.
But also, there has to be education so that little black kids know, when at the height of my styling career, I was pulling down 6 figures a year. I didn't graduate from college. I went to college, I took some theater classes, I took some acting classes, then I got discovered as a model and I moved on.
Yep.
But we're not telling little black kids of both sexes that there's jobs in these fields, that you can be a fashion stylist and you could make money. You could be a personal shopper and you could make money. You could be a hair and makeup artist and you could make money. We're not telling them that. We're definitely not telling them that at the high school level. We're definitely not telling little boys that because there's still that stigma. I'm always amazed there aren't more straight men in fashion. Because I get to see like the most beautiful women in the world in their underwear. I mean, that's a little pervy, but it's the truth. You know what I mean?
Right, I know what you're saying.
Like, if you want to be around beauty, this is the place to be. Be a hair artist, be a makeup artist, be a stylist, be an art director, be a photographer. But we're not being told that. It's not an option for us. Because here's the thing with black people. If you show us and you let us in, we're going to thrive. We're going to kill it. But if we don't know about it, if we don't know it's an option, we don't get the chance. So there needs to be more like sort of education about fashion. It can't just be like, oh, well, if you want to be a model, you have to be at least 5'8", and for a girl, and then at least 6 feet for a guy, and that's the only thing in fashion. Because if you look at my career, I started as a model, and I got out and became a stylist, and then my styling morphed into a TV career, and then my TV career led me back to styling, and now I'm an author. There's like very few careers that all sort of work together that allow you that one thing feeds into the other, and that's fashion. You can be a multi-hyphenate.
I know that's
so
right.
I just think that we need to start talking about careers in fashion, talking about careers, and behind the camera, and giving these these kids that that are creative this sort of outlet. You know what I mean? There needs to be more digital tech, on set. There needs to be more black grips on set on movie and TV sets. You know what I mean? There needs to be more people of color, and we need to know that these careers are open to us.
Marcellas Reynolds, everyone. Oh, Marcellas, thank you so much for talking with So Booking Cool today. It was truly a pleasure. I really, really enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure others will as well when they hear it. I mean, it's wonderful, and I'll never forget it. And I would love to talk with you again.
Please. Let's revisit this book and see what happens. If it becomes a bestseller, if it gets bought, if it becomes a documentary, let's revisit that. Let's definitely talk before when I sell my second one.
Yes. Yes, we will keep it.
April is going to buy this second one. It is going to happen because it's a better idea than the first one.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And yes, continue to speak that into existence. And I'm so glad that you have so much more in store with Supreme Models too. I'm so glad that you're doing that. Let everyone know how they can keep up with you, how they can get Supreme Models, iconic black women who revolutionized fashion.
Supreme Models is everywhere. It's at Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. I just went to my neighborhood Barnes & Noble, and there were 6 copies there. Museum stores have embraced it. It's at the MCA Chicago Museum Store. It's at the Getty in Los Angeles. It's at Target, which I can't believe. I can't believe something that has my name on it is being sold at Target. It's at Walmart. That's crazy. It's sort of everywhere. It's really nice. I was riding down 10th Avenue in New York. I looked out the window of my Uber and I saw it in the window at a bookstore, at a neighborhood bookstore. That's amazing to me. But definitely Amazon. Definitely Target. Definitely Barnes & Noble. And then I am online. So you can go to my website is marcellasreynolds.com. And then I'm on Instagram. I'm there all the time. I've got 2 Instagrams. one is Marky Mark, and it's Marky like name and light. So it's MarqueeMarc. So at Marky Mark. And then the other one is for the book, and that's Supreme Models Book. So that's how you get to me. Yes. I'm on Twitter too, Marky Mark.
Oh yeah, let's not forget Twitter. Yeah.
Let's not sleep on Twitter. Oh, this crazy thing happened on Twitter. This woman was like, Supreme Models would make a great gift for our high school library. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And then one of my oldest and dearest friends actually bought the book for her high school and posted it on Twitter. So she posted on Twitter that she wants the book to be donated to her high school. I reposted it, and then I was going to go to Abrams and see if we could send them a copy. And before I could even do that, one of my friends bought the book and sent it to the high school. So I thought that was wonderful.
Wow, that is wonderful.
Little kids interested in fashion and little kids that want to see beautiful images of themselves can see it at this high school in Louisiana. Unbelievable.
Wow. And yeah, it's powerful too to come across the books in the libraries as well, because that can also lead to more
sales. I don't want to be in the library, to be honest. I want people ripping pages out of my beautiful book.
Oh, but I don't think anybody would do that to Supreme Models, though. It's too gorgeous.
They better treat my book like it's gold. They better treat that very gently, because she's pretty and she deserves to be treated. You know, for like a solid month, I was wearing white gloves whenever I opened my copy of the book. And when I sent it out to all the models and to all the photographers, I sent out archival gloves with it. So everybody got a set of white gloves.
Nice marketing, too.
History.
Wow.
Girl, let me get off the phone.
Okay.
I'll be on this phone till midnight. I love talking about myself.
Likewise. Okay. Thank you to all the listeners, and until next time, so booking cool.
Hi, I'm Marcellas Reynolds, the author of Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion, and you're listening to So Booking Cool with Jewel B.